Has this ever happened to you? You open your closet and it's full of clothes. Shirts, pants, shoes, jackets, and yet you still say the most dangerous sentence in modern consumer culture. I have nothing to wear. So you do what most people do. You open an app, you see a sale, you buy a new shirt. Not because you need it, but because it feels good to buy something new. Now here's where the story gets interesting. While millions of people in the West buy clothes constantly, something curious happens in China. Many people, including professionals, entrepreneurs, and workers, wear the same clothes for years. The same jacket, the same coat, the same shoes. And it's not because they can't afford more. It's because they don't want to. And here comes the interesting question. Could something as simple as buying fewer clothes affect your wealth? The answer is yes. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why, because this is what most people don't realize. Sometimes wealth isn't built through big decisions, but through small habits repeated over decades. My name is Mr. Sin, and I spend way too much time thinking about how to explain finance without making you fall asleep, mixing practical concepts with a bit of humor, because honestly, if I don't laugh, I cry. And look, if you're someone who feels like money disappears without knowing how, works hard but never manages to save much, or believes spending a little more doesn't really matter, then make sure to subscribe and like this video if it helps you. Because today, we're going to talk about something that seems trivial, but actually has huge financial consequences: the way you buy clothes. And here's the thing. Most people think wealth depends on how much you earn, what you invest in, or what business you start. But there is another silent factor that affects your money every day: your consumption habits. And one of the most invisible habits of all is clothing. Here's what many people don't understand. In many parts of China, there is a very simple mindset. Clothing has a function. That's it. It's not constant entertainment, it's not a daily status symbol. It's simply something you use until it stops working. For example, a coat might last 5 or even 10 years. A pair of shoes might last several seasons. And this isn't an exaggeration. According to the China Consumer Behavior Report 2021, the average Chinese consumer buys 30 to 40% fewer clothes per year than the average consumer in the United States. Now, you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's do a simple calculation. Imagine someone who buys clothes regularly. Nothing extravagant, just normal purchases. For example, $60 on shirts, $120 on pants, $100 on shoes, $150 on jackets. That can easily add up to $1,000 per year. Now, multiply that by 20 years. $1,000 times 20 equals $20,000. And that's without inflation. Now imagine someone with a different mindset. They buy less, they use things longer. They spend $400 per year. After 20 years, 400 times 20 equals $8,000. Difference? $12,000. And here's where it gets really interesting. If those $600 saved each year were invested at 7% annually, after 20 years they could grow to approximately $25,000, all because of one seemingly small decision: buying fewer clothes. Let me tell you something real. I once met a professor in Shanghai, an extremely intelligent man. But what caught my attention wasn't his job, it was his clothes. He had a black coat, and he wore it every winter. One day I asked him, "Why don't you buy a new one?" His answer was simple. He said, "This one works." That was it. No drama, no excuses, just a different mindset. That professor invested money every month, and after many years, he had built a pretty solid investment portfolio. Was it only because of clothing? No, but it was part of a bigger mindset. A mindset that says, I don't spend money to impress others. Here's the key point. Clothing is not just fabric, it's psychology. In many Western cultures, clothing functions as personal expression, social signaling, emotional reward. People buy clothes because they're bored, they're sad, they're celebrating something. But in many parts of Asia, the mindset is different. The question isn't, do I like this? The question is, do I need this? That small shift in thinking can completely change your consumption habits. Now, you might be thinking, but Mr. Sin, clothes are also about enjoying life. Of course. No one is saying you should never buy clothes. The problem isn't buying clothes. The problem is buying them constantly. Another common objection is, but clothes are part of identity. And that's true. But here's an important question. Does your identity depend on new things or on who you actually are? Here's a simple way to apply this philosophy. Step 1. Buy fewer items, but better quality. Step 2. Use them until they truly need replacement. Step 3. Avoid impulse purchases. Step 4. Invest the money you didn't spend. That's the real secret. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about redirecting money toward things that grow. When you reduce small, recurring expenses, something interesting happens. You begin to create financial margin. That margin can turn into investments, savings, or opportunities. And this is where most people fail. They simply don't notice the small expenses. The modern fashion industry is built around one idea: constant novelty. New seasons, new trends. But financially, that's a disaster because it trains you to spend constantly. Wearing the same clothes for years is not poverty. It's strategy. It's understanding that money can do two things: impress other people or build your future. If this video changed the way you think about money, subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who believes they need new clothes every month. My name is Mr. Sin, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep learning how to make your money work for you instead of the other way around.